Hello. Tonight we journey back thousands of years to a time when southern China and northern Vietnam were covered in soft morning mist, subtropical rainforests, and quietly winding rivers. Long before modern borders or grand dynasties existed, this vast landscape belonged to a rich tapestry of ancient communities that would later be remembered simply as the Baiyue. Imagine standing quietly beside a calm, glassy river in the Pearl River Delta just as the first morning sun breaks through the damp tree canopy. You hear the slow, rhythmic dripping of condensation falling from broad camphor leaves into the dark, fertile soil beneath your feet. A cool, gentle breeze brushes past your shoulders, carrying the fresh scent of wild bamboo and wet limestone rocks that have rested here for millions of years. The soft mist floats low across the wide floodplains, hanging lazily over the undisturbed marshes, like a pale silk sheet waiting for the sun to lift it away. Somewhere in the quiet bamboo thickets nearby, a waterfowl softly splashes into the clear water, sending gentle, widening ripples across the smooth mirror surface. It is the kind of quiet morning that makes you feel as though the modern world, with all its chaotic schedules and endless phone notifications, is entirely non-existent. So, before you get completely comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you truly enjoy what we're creating here. If you feel like sharing, please drop a comment below with your current location and local time so we can see where around the world everyone is settling in tonight. Now, slowly dim the lights. Perhaps turn on a fan, letting the steady hum of the air fill the room. And in that gentle rhythm, we quietly step into tonight's journey together. Deep beneath the lush forests, winding rivers, and fertile floodplains of southern China and northern Vietnam rests a geological archive far older than any kingdom or written chronicle. Across the Pearl River, West River, and Red River basins, modern geological surveys and archaeological excavations have revealed evidence of continuous human occupation stretching back to the early Neolithic period, roughly 8,000 to 10,000 years ago. Sediment layers preserved beneath ancient river terraces contain charcoal from long-forgotten hearths, polished stone axes, fragments of pottery, shell middens, and microscopic traces of cultivated rice. These discoveries suggest that long before the emergence of the Baiyue societies described in later historical records, generations of prehistoric communities had already learned to adapt to seasonal floods, dense forests, and the rhythms of subtropical rivers. Over thousands of years, these river valleys became natural corridors linking scattered settlements through waterways rather than roads, allowing ideas, crops, and technologies to spread gradually across the landscape. Archaeologists have found that many Neolithic cultures in Lingnan shared similar styles of pottery, stone tools, and rice cultivation, while still maintaining distinctive local traditions. This quiet continuity laid the environmental and cultural foundations upon which the diverse Baiyue peoples would later flourish during the Bronze Age and the Warring States period. By the time Northern Chronicles first mentioned the Baiyue, the land itself had already witnessed countless generations of peaceful adaptation, leaving behind a deep historical memory preserved not in monuments, but in layers of earth patiently resting beneath the forests. The subtropical ecosystem here operates on an ancient, nearly unchangeable rhythm of warm seasonal rains, humid air, and rich alluvial soil deposits. Dense groves of wild bamboo and massive camphor trees dominate the hillside contours, providing stable habitats for countless species of waterbirds, deer, and freshwater fish. For thousands of generations, nature functions here without the interference of massive industrial projects, offering an abundance of natural materials and wild food sources to anyone who knows how to listen to the landscape. Long before the concept of unified kingdoms, dragon thrones, or imperial tax collectors took root in history books, this vast geographical realm is home to dozens of distinct indigenous groups. Chinese historical chronicles from later eras would eventually group all these diverse coastal and river communities together under the sweeping blanket term Baiyue, which literally translates to the 100 Yu. Yet behind this convenient summary lies an incredibly vibrant, decentralized world of distinct languages, customs, and local traditions that flourish entirely on their own terms. Living in these rich valley basins means moving in perfect harmony with the seasons, the river currents, and the natural growth cycles of the forest floor. Families construct sturdy, stilted wooden homes along the higher river banks to protect themselves from seasonal high water, building close to the water while respecting its unpredictable power. You can picture these early villagers stepping outside into the cool morning air, gathering bamboo shoots, mending woven fishing traps, and preparing simple earthenware vessels for the day ahead. Archaeological excavations at key Neolithic sites across Guangdong and Guangxi reveal that these early inhabitants are already skilled craftspeople who understand their environment with remarkable precision. They fashion polished stone adzes for timber work, weave intricate net patterns out of tough plant fibers, and bake low-fired pottery decorated with geometric chord impressions. Every object recovered from these ancient mud layers demonstrates a quiet, practical wisdom designed for sustainable living within a lush, moisture-rich river ecosystem. As you wander deeper into this ancient environment, you realize that society here is organized around community cooperation and local consensus rather than strict central decrees. There are no massive stone palaces, no heavy iron chains of military conscription, and no royal tax auditors demanding half of your annual harvest. People manage their daily affairs through long-held village traditions, shared labor during planting seasons, and deep ancestral respect for the rivers and mountains that cradle their homes. This decentralized way of life allowed the Baiyue communities to thrive without a single ruling empire. Villages remained connected by rivers, forest paths, and seasonal trade routes instead of imperial roads. A family near the Pearl River estuary could exchange salt, shells, and woven goods with settlements along the Red River Valley while preserving its own language and customs. Archaeological evidence suggests that these regional networks encourage the spread of farming techniques, bronze craftsmanship, and cultural traditions. This quiet balance between local independence and peaceful exchange became the enduring foundation of the ancient Baiyue world. The quiet resilience of these early communities proves that complex, thriving human societies do not require massive stone monuments or centralized imperial armies to endure for centuries. They build their lives around the steady flow of water, the seasonal ripening of wild fruits, and the shared warmth of evening village fires. As night falls gently over the ancient valley, the soft sound of running water carries the quiet legacy of a world that existed long before kingdoms ever had names. Following the steady, winding currents of the Pearl River and the Red River, you begin to see the very first permanent villages taking root along the fertile banks. Here, the entire rhythm of daily life is dictated by the gentle, predictable rise and fall of the monsoon seasons. As the morning sun rises over the quiet water, it casts a warm, golden glow across sprawling fields of wild and cultivated water rice, turning the landscape into a shimmering mirror that reflects the endless sky above. Archaeological excavations at Hemudu, Liangzhu, and various sites across the Lingnan region demonstrate that wet rice cultivation flourished here thousands of years ago, laying the foundation for one of the earliest agricultural civilizations in East Asia. In the lower Yangtze River basin of Zhejiang province, the Hemudu site stands out with its remarkably well-preserved wooden stilted houses and ancient paddy field remnants. Meanwhile, in the Yangtze Delta, the Liangzhu culture displays extraordinary advancement through its intricate jade carvings and sophisticated water management canal systems. Further south along the Pearl River Basin, Lingnan sites reveal a vibrant era of development marked by primitive stone adzes, cord-marked pottery, and invaluable carbonized rice grains. The quiet slap of wooden paddles against the calm surface rhythmically breaks the silence as long dugout canoes glide smoothly along the water. Villagers navigate these narrow channels with effortless grace, carrying woven baskets of harvested grain, fresh river fish, and sturdy clay pots. These dugout canoes, patiently hollowed out from massive hardwood logs using controlled fire and stone chisels, serve as both essential transportation and mobile trading posts. To an outsider, watching a seasoned fisherman balance effortlessly on a narrow wooden craft while casting a heavy net might look like a delicate ballet, though he would likely tell you it is simply the most efficient way to catch dinner without getting his feet wet. The rivers in this ancient world do far more than just supply fresh water and food. They serve as the primary highways connecting scattered settlements across vast tropical wildernesses. Long before anyone thinks to pave stone roads or map out formal political borders, these liquid pathways carry people, ideas, and crafted goods smoothly across hundreds of miles. The soft silt settling at the bottom of these channels quietly retains the subtle footprint of human history, recording every splash of an oar and every wooden keel that glides across its surface. Life within these early riverside communities centers around the collective rhythm of wet rice farming, an intensive practice that requires deep cooperation among neighbors. In the early spring, as the heavy seasonal rains fill the terrace basins, whole families step into the knee-deep mud to prepare the soil and gently set young green seedlings into the earth. The shared labor of building simple earth dikes, managing water channels, and harvesting the golden grain creates an enduring bond among villagers that does not rely on written laws or external enforcement. Archaeological excavations at the famous Hemudu site in present-day Zhejiang province, dated to approximately 5000 to 4500 BCE, have uncovered one of the earliest known examples of sophisticated wooden architecture in East Asia. Large timber beams were joined using precise mortise and tenon techniques without a single metal nail, demonstrating remarkable engineering knowledge during the Neolithic period. Alongside these structures, archaeologists discovered polished stone tools, pottery, lacquerware, and abundant rice remains, revealing a prosperous agricultural society that flourished thousands of years before the rise of the first Chinese dynasties. The settlement's elevated wooden houses stood securely above wetlands, protecting families from seasonal flooding, damp ground, and wild animals common to the subtropical environment. Beneath the raised floors, cool shaded spaces stored clay jars, harvested rice, fishing nets, wooden farming tools, and occasionally sheltered domesticated pigs or dogs. This practical architectural design reflected centuries of environmental adaptation, while its influence continued to appear in stilt house traditions preserved among many southern communities, including several groups later identified as part of the Baiyue cultural world. Further south across the Lingnan region, early settlements show a remarkable mastery of coastal and riverine resources through extensive shell middens, ancient mounds composed of discarded mollusk shells, animal bones, and broken earthenware. These deposits demonstrate that the early Baiyue enjoy a highly varied and nutritional diet, gathering wild oysters, clams, and freshwater snails alongside their cultivated rice crops. Their pottery, decorated with twisted core geometric patterns, reflects remarkable craftsmanship, everyday practicality, and a quiet artistic tradition passed through generations. As you observe these peaceful communities, you notice how deeply their spiritual and cultural practices are intertwined with the natural water systems around them. Rivers are viewed not as inanimate resources to be conquered, but as living, powerful entities inhabited by guardian spirits and ancestral presence. Offerings of polished stone beads, small clay figurines, and prized agricultural yields are periodically placed into the deep river bends to ensure gentle floods, abundant fish harvests, and safe passage for traveling canoes. The seasonal floodwaters regularly deposit rich, dark alluvial silt across the low-lying fields, naturally renewing the soil's fertility year after year without the need for artificial fertilizers. This dependable natural cycle allows generation after generation to live in the exact same valleys, building a deep, unbroken sense of place and belonging. Children grow up learning the subtle shifts of the water, reading the color of the current, the movement of river insects, and the shifting wind patterns long before they learn formal words. Trading between neighboring villages occurs organically along the riverbanks, where dugout canoes tie up alongside simple bamboo docks during the late afternoon hours. Here, a surplus of freshwater fish or river mussels is casually exchanged for a bundle of dried medicinal herbs, fine pottery jars, or carefully worked stone axes. There are no coinages, formal market regulations, or tax collectors standing by to take a cut. Transactions are based entirely on mutual need, personal trust, and long-standing family relationships. As the afternoon sun begins its slow descent, casting long, soft shadows across the quiet rice paddies, the villagers return to their stilted homes along the water's edge. Smoke from evening cooking fires rises lazily through the thatched roofs, blending gently with the gathering river mist and carrying the comforting aroma of steamed rice and broiled fish. The river continues its steady, timeless journey toward the open sea, silently carrying the memories of countless footstep prints made along its banks. This stable, harmonious way of life persists for centuries, proving that human communities can achieve remarkable longevity and cultural richness simply by adapting to the natural contours of their environment. The rivers act as both protector and provider, cradling a unique civilization that flourishes quietly away from the busy political centers of northern lands. As night settles over the peaceful channels, the steady current brings quiet tranquility, timeless calm. Imagine stepping onto the smooth, hand-carved wooden floor of a raised stilt house overlooking a quiet river valley, where morning mist drifts gently above the water and bird song echoes through the surrounding forests. Long before the rise of imperial rule, many Baiyue communities lived across the broad plains and wooded hills of southern China in small, self-governing settlements. Rather than obeying a distant emperor, daily life was guided by extended family ties that respected village elders and customs passed from one generation to the next. Archaeological and historical evidence suggests that local consensus, seasonal traditions, and shared responsibilities formed the enduring foundation of these peaceful societies. Historical records and anthropological studies identify 5 major branches of the ancient Baiyue network, each adapting to distinct microclimates across southern East Asia. Ouyue, settled in the mountainous interior valleys, renowned for forest foraging and high-altitude terrace farming. Lesiue, inhabited the low-lying Red River Delta, mastering wet rice agricultural systems and bronze casting. Nanyue occupied the coastal corridors of modern Guangdong and Guangxi, excelling in sea navigation and trade. Minyu, nestled along the rugged pine-covered coastlines of Fujian, famous for expert shipbuilding and deep-sea fishing. Yangyue, spread across the central river basins, serving as a cultural bridge between the northern lakes and southern valleys. Stepping into one of these ancient Baiyue settlements, the village appears to grow naturally from the landscape rather than imposing itself upon it. Instead of rigid streets or defensive stone walls, clusters of timber houses follow the gentle curves of riverbanks and natural terraces. Archaeological discoveries from Neolithic and Bronze Age sites across Lingnan suggest that many southern communities favored open village layouts connected by waterways, where rivers served as the primary routes for travel, trade, and communication. At the center, an open gathering space welcomed seasonal ceremonies, communal decisions, and the quiet rhythm of everyday life. Raised on thick wooden posts, the stilt houses reflected centuries of adaptation to the humid subtropical environment. Similar architectural traditions have been uncovered at Hemudu and later southern settlements, where elevated floors protected families from floods, damp ground, insects, and wild animals. Beneath the living quarters, pigs rested in the cool shade, while ducks wandered freely between muddy paths and nearby streams. Clay jars, fishing baskets, and wooden farming tools were carefully stored below, making every part of the structure practical without disturbing the peaceful simplicity of village life. Inside each home, the hearth burned gently through most hours of the day, providing warmth, light, and a place where several generations gathered together. Women wove cloth from hemp, bark fibers, and other local plants, while craftsmen shaped bamboo baskets, wooden paddles, and polished stone tools. Excavations throughout southern China have uncovered spindle whorls, weaving implements, pottery kilns, and rice processing tools, revealing a well-organized domestic economy that relied on shared labor rather than centralized authority. Every familiar sound blended naturally with birdsong, flowing water, and the soft crackling of firewood. Ancient Chinese works, such as the Book of Han and earlier historical records, describe many Baiyue communities as practicing elaborate body tattooing and distinctive hairstyles, customs that greatly fascinated northern observers. For the Baiyue themselves, these tattoos carried meanings beyond decoration, expressing ancestry, local identity, and spiritual protection closely connected with rivers and the sea. Some accounts also suggest they believed the patterns discouraged attacks from large aquatic animals during fishing expeditions. Whether practical, symbolic, or both, these traditions reflected a culture shaped by water, where identity flowed quietly alongside the rivers that sustained everyday life. Daily governance in these villages relies on elder councils and collective consensus rather than arbitrary royal decrees or harsh penal codes. When a dispute arises over land boundaries or water rights for rice paddies, the heads of local clans gather around the central village hearth to speak softly, listen patiently, and reach a balanced agreement that satisfies both families. Leadership is earned through wisdom, generosity, and skill in hunting or farming, rather than inherited through rigid aristocratic bloodlines. Archaeological digs across these ancient village sites reveal a high degree of social equality with grave goods showing remarkably similar levels of personal wealth among community members. Simple copper ornaments, polished stone beads, and carefully decorated ceramic jars are distributed evenly across burial sites, indicating a society that values shared prosperity and social harmony over individual hoarding. Every family has access to arable land, timber for building, and open waterways for fishing and transport. The daily routine is marked by a peaceful repetition of practical tasks that bring people into close contact with the natural world. In the early mornings, men head out in groups to hunt wild game in the dense subtropical hills or set woven bamboo traps in the tidal creeks. Meanwhile, women and young children gather wild fruits, edible roots, and medicinal plants from the lush forest undergrowth, maintaining a deep knowledge of local ecology passed down verbally through generations. Metallurgy, particularly the cold hammering and casting of bronze items, is practiced locally in small village workshops rather than controlled by a central state monopoly. Artisans create practical tools like curved sickles, sturdy fishhooks, and elegant socketed axes, alongside sacred bronze drums used during seasonal rain ceremonies. The sound of hammering bronze resonates softly through the valley, signaling not the preparation for massive imperial conquest, but the crafting of everyday tools designed to sustain human life. Festivals within these villages follow the solar and agricultural calendars, celebrating the arrival of the spring rains and the completion of the autumn rice harvest. During these gatherings, the community comes together to feast on sticky rice baked inside bamboo tubes, fresh roasted fish, and mild rice wine brewed in earthenware crocks. The deep, resonant thump of bronze drums echoes off the surrounding hills, calling the spirits of ancestors and nature to bless the fields and protect the village from illness. As night descends over the quiet settlement, families gather indoors around the glowing coals of the hearth to share stories, songs, and ancestral legends. Elders recite long oral poems that trace the origins of their clan back to ancient water spirits, sacred birds, and brave legendary founders who first cleared the bamboo thickets. Without written books or imperial libraries, history lives dynamically in the human voice, carefully preserved in the hearts and memories of every child listening quietly in the dark. This peaceful, self-governing world of independent villages demonstrates that human societies can flourish with extraordinary stability and cultural depth without submitting to centralized imperial power. The Baiyue live quietly within the limits of their environment, creating a legacy defined by community trust, ecological harmony, and a quiet respect for individual freedom. As the stars emerge over the sleeping valley, the quiet breeze carries the timeless sense of a world content to exist entirely on its own terms. Along the tranquil water networks connecting the vast southern lands, trade flows with the gentle, unhurried ease of the river currents. Over centuries, long dugout canoes laden with raw copper, rock salt, nephrite jade, and fine cord-marked pottery travel between distant settlements without the oversight of imperial customs offices or tax collection points. The quiet rhythm of splashing wooden paddles serves as the heartbeat of a regional economy built entirely on mutual necessity and deep cultural trust, allowing diverse communities to stay connected across expansive subtropical wildernesses without ever needing formal border posts. At the vibrant center of this interconnected aquatic world stands the remarkable Dongsan culture, renowned for its extraordinary mastery of bronze metallurgy. Operating in small, open-air foundries along the riverbanks, local artisans employ advanced lost wax casting techniques, carefully melting copper and tin inside thick clay crucibles to create magnificent bronze drums, elegant socketed daggers, and ornate personal ornaments. These skilled craftsmen possess an intuitive understanding of complex metal ratios, consistently producing bronze items that combine a brilliant, golden metallic luster with exceptional structural durability designed to withstand generations of daily use. Examining the broad surface of a sacred Dongsun bronze drum beneath the glow of an evening fire reveals a remarkable visual record of an ancient worldview. At its center shines a radiant star surrounded by concentric geometric bands, while finely cast images of long feathered birds, ceremonial dancers, stilt houses, and graceful longboats circle outward in balanced harmony. Archaeologists generally date the Dongsun culture to around the 7th century BCE through the 1st century CE, when bronze craftsmanship flourished across the Red River Basin and neighboring regions. To the people who created these drums, the imagery was more than decoration. The central star is widely interpreted as representing the sun or a celestial source of life, while birds, rivers, and boats reflected the intimate relationship between human communities and the natural world. Many scholars believe the drums were used during important ceremonies, agricultural festivals, and gatherings of regional leaders. Their rhythmic sound could travel across valleys and waterways, carrying messages that united distant settlements through shared traditions rather than imperial authority. Metallurgical analysis has revealed that many Dongsun bronze drums were cast from carefully controlled copper alloys containing varying amounts of tin, and in numerous examples, significant quantities of lead that improved the metal's fluidity during casting. This allowed molten bronze to fill the finest details of large multi-piece clay molds, producing exceptionally crisp decorative patterns with few imperfections. Such technical achievement demonstrates that sophisticated bronze technology had reached an impressive level in the Baiyue world centuries before northern imperial ironworking became widespread throughout the region. These majestic bronze drums serve as powerful sacred symbols across many different Baiyue groups, brought out during rain-making rituals, communal agricultural feasts, and important burial ceremonies for tribal elders. The deep, resonant sound produced when striking the bronze tympanum deliberately mimics the low rumble of spring thunder rolling across the valley hills, signaling to nature that it is time to release seasonal rains over the waiting rice fields. Possessing a bronze drum brings immense social prestige to a village elder, representing collective community solidarity rather than personal autocratic rule. Remarkably, this extensive trading network flourishes across thousands of square miles without the direction of a central government, imperial military decrees, or a unified coinage system. A village in the Red River Delta producing high-quality bronze axes can easily exchange them for mountain forest products like cinnamon bark, aromatic camphor wood, or prized deer antlers gathered by inland communities along the upper river reaches. Barter ratios are negotiated casually on sandy riverbanks, where traders share betel nut and fresh tea while reaching fair, balanced agreements that benefit both parties equally. The southern waterways function as shared highways that bring different cultural groups together in peaceful economic exchange rather than violent territorial conquest or military expansion. Coastal communities specializing in sea salt production, turtle shell harvesting, and pearl diving regularly meet with inland valley farmers who offer surplus white rice, woven hemp textiles, and dried freshwater fish. These regular, peaceful encounters create a rich, shared cultural vocabulary among the various Baiyue branches, allowing diverse communities to recognize one another as friendly partners, navigating a grand decentralized aquatic realm together. Ancient Chinese historical chronicles, such as the records of the Grand Historian, frequently remark on the exceptional boat-building skills and maritime confidence of these southern river communities. Baiyue navigators read subtle water currents, wind shifts, and star patterns with remarkable accuracy, traveling easily between coastal estuaries and inland river tributaries. Their light, flexible vessel designs allow them to move swiftly across shallow sandbars and rapid currents that would easily ground heavier northern vessels, making water transportation the undisputed foundation of southern trade, communication, and daily survival. Metallurgical knowledge spreads quietly along these river routes, encouraging local communities to adapt bronze working to their specific regional needs and available natural resources. Far from being mass-produced weapons designed for territorial conquest, many bronze items unearthed from this era are practical agricultural tools, curved harvesting knives, sturdy soil mattocks, and durable fish hooks designed to replace softer bone or wooden alternatives. This practical focus on improving daily living standards highlights the peaceful, production-oriented mindset that defines these ancient southern river societies throughout their long history. As night falls over the quiet trading encampments nestled along the river bends, the soft flicker of burning bronze foundries gently illuminates the dark water surface. Craftspeople carefully crack open cooled earthenware molds, revealing freshly cast bronze items that will travel along the riverways tomorrow to far-off settlements down the valley. The calm evening breeze carries the subtle metallic scent of cooling bronze through the damp air, blending harmoniously with the natural fragrances of wild orchids, damp soil, and the surrounding subtropical forest. This elegant balance of localized craftsmanship and wide-reaching river trade demonstrates that human societies can achieve high levels of technological sophistication and economic unity without building rigid, imperial structures or oppressive tax systems. The ancient Baiyue maintain a peaceful world where art, metallurgy, and maritime trade serve to strengthen community bonds, honor ancestral spirits, and celebrate the natural rhythms of life. Calm waters mirror stars above, preserving a timeless world of copper, trade, and rivers. Stepping back reveals ancient river networks sustaining enduring economies, quietly outlasting kingdoms, dynasties, and shifting political boundaries for centuries. The traditions of open-air river markets, shared agricultural labor, and specialized regional craft guilds continued to thrive for centuries, weaving themselves directly into the cultural fabric of modern Southern Asia. Long after early foundries cooled, cooperation along winding waterways endured, proving peaceful trade ties could outlast even mighty empires. Looking north beyond the dense mountain ranges, you can sense the gradual expansion of northern feudal states during the spring and autumn and warring states periods, moving steadily southward like a slow, patient tide. Driven by growing populations, an endless need for fertile agricultural lands, and an appetite for exotic tropical resources like timber, ivory, pearls, and aromatic resins, northern kingdoms slowly begin extending their trade routes and political presence into the lush valley corridors of the south. During the Warring States period, 475 to 221 BCE, long before the rise of a unified Chinese empire, the relationship between northern states and the Baiyue world developed through trade, diplomacy, and cultural interaction. The kingdom of Chu expanded gradually into the Yangtze River basin, attracted by abundant resources including timber, copper ore, jade, and valuable forest products. Rather than immediate conquest, early contact often occurred through merchants, envoys, and local alliances, creating networks that connected Chu society with various Baiyue communities living along rivers, mountains, and fertile southern valleys. Further east, the Kingdom of Yue became a powerful coastal state, centered around regions of modern Zhejiang and Fujian. Its prosperity came from maritime connections, salt production, bronze and iron craftsmanship, and control of important coastal routes. Historical records describe both competition and cooperation between Yue and neighboring Baiyue groups, including periods of warfare, political alliances, and intermarriage among local elites. These interactions allowed technologies, agricultural knowledge, and cultural traditions to move gradually across southern landscapes, creating a complex world where different communities influenced one another. At the same time, states from the Central Plains looked southward through the Lingnan mountain passages, seeking rare products such as pearls, exotic feathers, spices, and precious materials. Ancient trade routes crossed difficult terrain, linking northern markets with the river systems of southern China and northern Vietnam. Archaeological discoveries show that these exchanges existed for centuries before imperial expansion reached the region. The Baiyue lands were therefore not isolated territories, but vibrant crossroads where migration, commerce, and cultural exchange shaped a diverse civilization long before formal imperial administration appeared. The expanding influence of the Chu state brings northern bronze weapons, silk textiles, and iron tools into contact with southern communities, initiating a prolonged era of gradual cultural exchange. Yet, for many generations, this northern advance is not marked by sudden military invasion or sweeping destruction, but rather by small groups of traders, diplomats, and displaced political refugees making their way through high mountain passes. The border between these two distinct worlds remains a wide, fluid frontier of thick subtropical forests and misty mountain valleys, rather than a rigid, heavily guarded line on a map. As you wander along these ancient mountain trails, you observe how local Baiyue communities react to these initial northern encounters with pragmatic curiosity rather than hostility. Southern villagers eagerly trade their local commodities, such as fragrant cinnamon bark, durable bamboo woven products, and high purity copper, for fine northern silk garments and advanced iron agricultural implements that make clearing dense jungle growth considerably easier. While a local farmer might find the northern diplomat's elaborate court etiquette and endless ceremonies slightly amusing, he certainly appreciates the sharp edge of a newly acquired iron sickle. The northern states soon realized that navigating the South's dense jungles, meandering river networks, and humid climate requires deep reliance on local knowledge. Northern soldiers dressed in heavy leather or iron armor quickly find themselves sweltering in the intense humidity, while their heavy war chariots prove completely useless in the muddy rice paddies and narrow, winding river valleys. To survive and conduct business in this environment, northern travelers must adopt local customs, learning to navigate shallow streams in light dugout canoes and relying on indigenous guides who know every hidden mountain pass. This extended period of interaction leads to a subtle two-way process of cultural borrowing that enriches both societies in unexpected ways. Northern court music and literary traditions begin incorporating exotic Southern motifs, while Southern metalworkers quietly observe Northern casting techniques, adapting them to refine their own bronze drum and weapon designs. The vast frontier zone becomes a vibrant space of peaceful coexistence, where regional languages, dietary habits, and artistic styles blend together into unique regional subcultures. From a sociological perspective, the decentralized structure of Baiyue societies created a political system very different from the centralized kingdoms of the northern plains. Historical records from the Warring States period and early Han era suggest that many Baiyue communities were organized through extended clans, village networks, and regional chiefs, rather than a single royal authority. Without one supreme ruler representing all groups, northern envoys could not negotiate with a unified court. Instead, they needed to build separate relationships with many local leaders who controlled their own lands, traditions, and resources. This decentralized organization greatly influenced northern strategies toward the southern regions. Agreements made with one valley community often had limited influence beyond its own territory, requiring long-term diplomacy, economic exchange, and marriage alliances. During the Han expansion into Lingnan and the conquest of Nanyue in 111 BCE, imperial officials gradually incorporated local elites rather than replacing every existing structure. Over generations, cooperation between newcomers and indigenous communities created a gradual process of cultural integration where political change occurred alongside the continued survival of many local customs and identities. As the chaotic Warring States period reaches its dramatic climax in the north, many aristocratic families, scholars, and ordinary farmers flee the constant battlefields of the Central Plains, seeking peace and stability in the quiet southern valleys. These refugees settle among the local Baiyue populations, bringing with them advanced agricultural techniques, written records, and northern philosophy. These newcomers build homes alongside the indigenous inhabitants, slowly integrating into the peaceful rhythms of southern village life without disrupting the local social balance. Over decades, the quiet gathering of northern winds transforms the physical and cultural landscape of the border regions, creating a shared world where elements of both northern and southern life exist side by side. Mountain market towns emerge along key river tributaries, where merchants speaking different dialects gather under the shade of massive banyan trees to haggle over prices, share news, and enjoy local rice wine. The frontier transforms into a lasting bridge, allowing ideas, traditions, and goods to flow peacefully across mountains and connect distant communities through time. As evening falls over the high mountain passes, the cool northern breeze settles gently into the warm, humid valleys below, blending two distinct atmospheres into a single peaceful night. The stars shine brightly above the dense subtropical canopy, illuminating a landscape that is quietly preparing for the next major chapter in its long history. The gentle rustle of bamboo leaves in the wind carries the unspoken truth that cultures like rivers naturally seek paths of connection and shared growth. In 221 BCE, Qin Shi Huang achieves the monumental historical unification of the Central Plains, forging China's very first imperial dynasty through iron determination and formidable military power. Yet, looking south from his newly built capital city at Xianyang, the first emperor beholds a vast, untamed realm of rugged mountain ranges and winding river networks that remains entirely outside his administrative grip. Driven by an urgent desire to secure his southern borders, expand agrarian territories, and gain access to exotic natural resources like elephant ivory, rhinoceros horns, pearls, and tropical timber, he dispatches massive imperial armies southward into the Lingnan region, marking a pivotal turning point in East Asian history. The initial southward military campaign encounters extraordinary logistical nightmares as hundreds of thousands of Qin soldiers struggle to transport heavy provisions across the steep, roadless Five Ridges mountain barrier. According to historical accounts in the Huainanzi, supply lines quickly break down, leaving northern troops exhausted, malnourished, and vulnerable in unfamiliar subtropical terrain. Realizing that victory depends entirely on establishing reliable water supply lines, Emperor Qin Shi Huang orders his engineers to solve this formidable geographic obstacle by constructing an artificial navigable waterway that could link the northern Yangtze River system directly with the southern Pearl River Basin, forever altering the region's transport geography. To accomplish this astonishing feat of ancient civil engineering, Chief Engineer Shi Lu surveys the mountainous border region of modern Guangxi and designs the brilliant Link Canal. Cut directly through a natural saddle in the mountain ridge, this 5-kilometer canal connects the northern flowing Xiang River with the southern flowing Li River. To manage the turbulent mountain currents, Qin engineers construct a dynamic fishbeak diversion dam and an ingenious overflow mechanism known as the spillway of the magic balance. This automated stone spillway diverts roughly 30% of the Xiang River's flow into the Li River, allowing heavy supply barges to cross continental water divides smoothly without unloading cargo. Following the completion of this vital canal corridor around 214 BCE, the Qin military administration establishes 3 grand southern commanderies across the newly claimed territories: Nanhai, Guilin, and Xiang. Imperial governors, military garrisons, and northern stonecutters begin streaming along newly paved post roads, bringing standardized small seal script, official measuring units, and strict statutory legal codes into the humid subtropical valleys. Yet, despite these ambitious official designations drawn on imperial silk maps, the day-to-day enforcement of Qin authority remains largely confined to fortified river ports, administrative walled outposts, and strategic mountain passes, leaving the vast surrounding jungle countryside largely untouched. The native Baiyue communities do not simply vanish or surrender their long-held ways of life upon the sudden arrival of these heavily armored northern garrisons. Instead, many local clans retreat into the dense Mystery Mountain forests, utilizing their intimate knowledge of the rugged terrain to wage a prolonged, patient campaign of guerrilla resistance under the leadership of local chieftains like Yi Song. Qin troops, unaccustomed to the stifling humidity, tropical diseases, and surprise night attacks from the forest undergrowth, find themselves bogged down in a grueling conflict where formal battle formations and heavy iron armor offer little practical military advantage. Historical records indicate that the first emperor suffered massive military losses during these early southern campaigns, losing tens of thousands of troops to disease and fierce local resistance before establishing firm footholds. Recognizing the extreme difficulty of ruling such a vast region through raw military force alone, the Qin government shifts strategy, encouraging thousands of northern civilian settlers, including skilled artisans, merchants, displaced farmers, and women, to move south and settle permanently among the indigenous populations. This massive demographic shift lays the groundwork for long-term cultural integration, transforming a military front into a dynamic space of peaceful, everyday human interaction. These northern newcomers establish small farming settlements along the fertile alluvial floodplains, building raised stilted wooden homes alongside local villagers, and learning how to cultivate wet rice using indigenous techniques adapted to damp subtropical climates. In turn, local Baiyue farmers adopt northern iron agricultural tools, such as heavy iron plows and sturdy hoe blades, which make clearing dense jungle roots significantly easier. This steady influx of civilian families creates a rich, layered cultural environment where daily survival depends far more on practical neighborly cooperation, shared agricultural labor, and local trade than on imperial military decrees. Over time, daily contact created a layered society throughout the southern river basins, where imperial systems existed alongside ancient Baiyue traditions. Qin officials managed taxes, population records, and legal matters using standardized writing, while village elders continued resolving local disputes through customary practices. Merchants, farmers, and fishermen gradually adapted to each other's languages, tools, and trading methods, creating a quiet blend of northern administration and southern cultural continuity. The infrastructure built during the Qin expansion, especially the Lingqiu Canal and improved river ports, permanently transformed southern economic connections. These projects linked previously separated valleys into broader trade networks where rice, ceramics, timber, and copper could move more efficiently. Over generations, imperial structures blended into the southern landscape, while local communities continued preserving their unique subtropical customs within expanding networks of trade, communication, and cultural exchange. The strategic importance of the Link Canal extended far beyond the short-lived Qin dynasty, serving as a primary administrative and commercial artery for subsequent northern and southern dynasties for over 2,000 years. By connecting northern grain centers directly to southern seaports, the canal facilitated the early development of the maritime Silk Road, allowing exotic goods from Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean to reach central China smoothly. This ancient artificial river proved that thoughtful human engineering could harmonize with natural waterways to create an enduring conduit for culture, trade, and regional unity. As night falls over the calm, glassy waters of the Lingqiu Canal, the soft moonlight reflects off the ancient stone spillways that have redirected river currents for countless generations. The gentle, rhythmic sound of trickling water carries the quiet legacy of an era when two entirely distinct worlds first met, collided, and began the long, patient process of learning to live together. The cool evening breeze blows softly through the surrounding bamboo groves, whispering a timeless story of cultural transformation, human resilience, and quiet adaptation beneath the calm, starry southern sky. Looking back on this great transformation, the Qin campaign's deepest legacy was not military control, but the lasting connection it created between North and South. Though the dynasty eventually vanished, its roads, canals, and farming methods endured, supporting a blended civilization shaped by both northern discipline and southern traditions. The rivers flowed quietly, preserving the memory of two cultures connected through centuries of interaction, adaptation, and shared history across a timeless human journey. As the formidable Qin dynasty rapidly collapses into widespread civil war around 206 BCE, Zhao Tuo, a capable northern general serving as magistrate in the Nanyue commandery, takes a bold, decisive historical step. Recognizing that central imperial authority in Xianyang has completely dissolved, he immediately seals the strategic mountain passes leading north across the five ridges, unifies the three southern commanderies of Nanhai, Guilin, and Xiang, and officially proclaims the independent kingdom of Nanyue. Establishing his royal capital at Panyu, modern-day Guangzhou, Zhao Tuo crafts a resilient realm that thoughtfully bridges northern administrative expertise with ancient southern indigenous traditions. To secure the long-term loyalty of his predominantly indigenous subjects, Zhao Tuo makes the pragmatic strategic choice to fully adopt Baiyue customs himself, rather than imposing northern cultural norms. Ancient historical chronicles, such as the Shiji, record that he regularly wears his hair tied in a loose southern topknot, sits cross-legged on reed mats according to local etiquette, and appoints prominent Baiyue chieftains to high political and military posts throughout his royal court. This inclusive approach creates a harmonious hybrid society where northern administrative organization actively supports and protects, rather than suppresses, the rich cultural identity of the local southern populations. The kingdom's historical stability was further tested during the early Han Dynasty, particularly when Empress Dowager Lu placed a strict trade embargo on iron goods and agricultural implements bound for Nanyue around 883 BCE. In response, Zhao Tuo briefly declared himself Emperor of Nanyue to assert equal sovereign status, successfully mobilizing his regional forces while maintaining open maritime trade channels across Southeast Asia. When Emperor Wen of Han later sent diplomatic envoys bearing conciliatory gifts, Zhao Tuo wisely reverted to his title of king, demonstrating a masterclass in pragmatic diplomacy that preserved peace, local sovereignty, and commercial prosperity for his people. The famous tomb of Zhao Mo, the second king of Nanyue, discovered in Guangzhou in 1983, provides breathtaking physical evidence of this extraordinary multicultural synthesis. Excavations unearthed over 1,000 stunning artifacts, including a magnificent jade burial suit constructed from 2,291 individual jade plaques, tied together with delicate red silk thread. Alongside northern bronze ritual vessels and Han-style imperial seals, archaeologists recovered distinct Baiyue bronze drums, delicate gold jewelry, and rare imported items, proving that Nanyue functioned as a wealthy, highly sophisticated bridge connecting the continental Asian interior with vast, expanding maritime trade networks connecting distant overseas regions. As a remarkable archaeological discovery highlighting this early global connectivity, King Xiaomo's tomb contained a set of blue and white glass plaques, a carved African elephant tusk, and a uniquely decorated silver container of Persian origin. These extraordinary items mark Nanyue as one of the earliest active nodes on the ancient maritime Silk Road, establishing maritime trade connections across the South China Sea, the Indian Ocean, and the Persian Gulf, long before later imperial dynasties expanded their naval presence. Panyu served as a vibrant international marketplace where foreign luxury goods were regularly exchanged for local pearls, silk, and spices. Inside the quiet, ancient metropolis of Panyu, daily urban life reflects a relaxed, multicultural rhythm where diverse communities live peacefully side by side. In the bustling open-air markets along the Pearl River docks, local merchants selling fresh seafood, tropical fruits, betel nut, and aromatic spices rub shoulders with northern scribes, foreign sea captains, and skilled artisans. It is a cosmopolitan environment where multiple languages and dialects mingle harmoniously, and where a merchant might sign a formal commercial contract written in Chinese seal script before sitting down to enjoy a traditional meal of steamed river fish and rice wrapped in banana leaves. Nanyue's military and civil defense policies focus primarily on securing border stability and maritime trade routes rather than pursuing aggressive territorial expansion. Zhao Tuo maintains delicate diplomatic relations with both the neighboring Han dynasty to the north and various independent Baiyue kingdoms to the west and south, employing strategic trade agreements and marital alliances to prevent costly military conflicts. By keeping the northern mountain passes carefully guarded against large foreign armies, Nanyue creates nearly a century of relative peace, agricultural expansion, and economic stability across the vast Lingnan region. Agriculture and specialized regional crafts flourish immensely under this stable, independent kingdom. State-sponsored water management projects expand wet rice cultivation into broader alluvial floodplains, while local iron foundries and bronze workshops continue to refine the art of metal casting and agricultural tool production. Local artisans create stunning, decorative items that masterfully blend northern geometric precision with southern naturalistic motifs, such as intricate bronze lampstands shaped like graceful tropical birds, ornate incense burners, and exquisite jade pendants carved into the likeness of coiled sea dragons and water serpents. The administrative stability of Nanyue allows local Baiyue communities to retain their traditional social structures, ancestral spiritual beliefs, and village-level autonomy. Indigenous village elders continue to govern daily local affairs, manage communal water rights for rice paddies, and organize seasonal agricultural festivals, all while enjoying the military protection and commercial advantages provided by a well-managed central government. This delicate, respectful balance between central state security and local cultural freedom enables Nanyue to flourish as a unique, self-sustaining cultural oasis far removed from the violent political upheavals of northern China. The legacy of Nanyue's architectural and urban design can still be seen in the structural layout of ancient Guangzhou, where riverine transport access was prioritized over rigid grid alignments. Advanced drainage systems, stone-lined palace canals, and timber docks built during this era demonstrate sophisticated civil engineering adapted specifically to humid, typhoon-prone coastal environments. These durable urban foundations allowed Panyu to remain a premier maritime trading gateway for over 2,000 years, continually linking the products of the Asian interior directly with ocean-going merchants from across the globe. As soft evening shadows settle over the ancient port city of Panyu, gentle lanterns flicker along the wooden river docks, casting warm reflections onto the dark, calm water below. The peaceful hum of evening conversation fills the warm air, blending northern dialects with soft southern tones under a quiet, starry night sky. Nanyue stands in human history as a remarkable, inspiring testament to how two distinct cultural worlds can weave together a prosperous, harmonious realm that honors the quiet dignity and wisdom of both traditions. Stepping back to observe Nanyue's era of regional independence, we see that lasting unity can emerge without cultural uniformity, as different traditions, languages, and customs coexist within a shared political landscape. By valuing local customs and fostering international trade, Zhao Tuo's kingdom laid down a lasting model of peaceful coexistence that deeply influenced the southern identity for centuries to come. As the river flows softly into the dark bay, the quiet memory of this peaceful hybrid kingdom continues to radiate a timeless, gentle calm across the ancient southern landscape. In 111 BCE, Emperor Wu of Han dispatches a powerful multi-pronged military expedition southward to annex Nanyue, officially incorporating the expansive southern territories into the administrative framework of the Han Empire. Following internal political instability within the Nanyue royal court at Panyu, General Liu Bode and Navy Commander Yang Pu lead imperial forces along key riverways to re-establish northern control over Lingnan. Yet, this dramatic geopolitical transition does not trigger an immediate disruption of daily life for local communities. Instead, integration unfolds gradually over generations through a peaceful synthesis of imperial order and deep-seated local traditions. The Han imperial administration establishes a structured network of commanderies and counties across Lingnan and northern Vietnam, introducing standardized population registers, formal legal codes, and imperial tax schedules. Han officials sent from the distant northern capital build brick administrative offices and granaries at strategic river junctions, where scribes record agricultural yields on bamboo slips using official clerical script. Yet outside these modest administrative outposts, the vast countryside continues to operate according to the time-honored rhythms of the natural seasons, as local populations maintain their traditional agricultural routines and community life without feeling the immediate weight of imperial rule. Linguistic research reveals that despite centuries of Han administrative presence and the official introduction of classical Chinese writing, many southern dialects, such as Cantonese, Hakka, and Min, retain deep grammatical, phonetic, and lexical substrata originating directly from ancient Baiyue languages. Core daily vocabulary associated with local flora, fauna, wet rice agriculture, and maritime navigation survived the shift toward northern literacy. This linguistic endurance highlights how the local population absorbed imperial administrative tools while preserving their original vocal identity, creating a rich oral heritage that bridges ancient southern roots with the broader Han cultural sphere. Farmers continue to step into flooded rice paddies at dawn, gently setting young green seedlings into rich alluvial soil and tending simple bamboo irrigation channels, just as their ancestors did for centuries. Women gather in shaded wooden doorways, weaving durable hemp garments and preparing fragrant meals of steamed rice and freshwater fish. While the village elder might now carry a small copper seal issued by a Han magistrate to authenticate official documents, he continues to settle local land disputes using traditional community dialogue, shared meals, and time-honored ancestral consensus. Recognizing that attempting to forcibly eradicate indigenous customs across the southern river basins would trigger fierce resistance and economic disruption, the Han state adopts a pragmatic governance policy. Imperial authorities frequently appoint local Baiyue chieftains as native official administrators, allowing them to govern their communities according to traditional customs, as long as nominal imperial loyalty and annual tributes are maintained. This indirect governance model preserves social stability, prevents widespread rebellion, and allows northern legal concepts and agricultural technologies to blend naturally into local village traditions over several centuries. Archaeological excavations across Han-era cemeteries in Guangdong, Guangxi, and the Red River Delta reveal a remarkable cultural transformation following the Han expansion into the south after 111 BCE. Burial sites from this period contain a unique combination of imported Han objects, including glazed ceramic jars, iron plowshares, and bronze mirrors, placed alongside traditional Baiyue artifacts such as bronze drums, bamboo weaving, and shell decorations. These discoveries demonstrate that local communities did not simply abandon their heritage, but selectively integrated new technologies, agricultural methods, and artistic influences. The tombs preserve evidence of a gradual cultural dialogue between Northern administration and enduring Southern traditions. Seasonal celebrations and community rituals remain deeply rooted in ancient Southern traditions under Han skies. During the annual dragon boat gatherings held along wide rivers, long wooden canoes filled with spirited rowers slice through the water to the rhythmic beat of bronze drums, honoring ancestral water spirits and praying for abundant agricultural harvests. Even as official northern lunisolar calendars are distributed to regional administrative centers, local villagers continue to align their daily work with the natural blooming of subtropical trees and the seasonal migrations of local waterbirds. The gradual integration of the South into the Han Empire opens massive trade corridors that connect Southern products to distant corners of the ancient world. Exotic commodities such as high-grade ocean pearls, vibrant kingfisher feathers, fragrant cinnamon bark, aromatic resins, and tropical fruits travel northward along expanded river networks to imperial markets in Chang'an. Simultaneously, foreign merchant ships arriving at southern ports bring Indian spices, Roman glass beads, and Southeast Asian gemstones, establishing southern coastal cities as thriving, multicultural gateways on the early maritime Silk Road. Historical records from the Eastern Han Dynasty, including accounts of General Ma Yuan's southern campaigns around 43 CE, reveal the complex relationship between imperial authority and local traditions. After the defeat of the Trung Sisters Rebellion in the Red River region, Han officials strengthened administrative control and established symbolic markers such as bronze pillars to represent imperial boundaries. However, governing the distant southern territories required more than military force. Experienced governors gradually recognized the importance of respecting local customs, village leadership, and agricultural practices. By allowing certain indigenous traditions to continue alongside Han laws, the empire maintained stability, encouraged farming and maritime commerce, and reduced the need for permanent military intervention across the southern frontier. In the quiet mountain regions, many indigenous communities preserve ancient languages, stilted homes, and unique tattoo traditions through centuries of Han influence. These remote societies remain guardians of Baiyue heritage, while valley populations gradually embrace both imperial systems and southern customs. Together they live peacefully, united by rivers, trade, ancestry, and cultural bonds that connect ancient traditions with the evolving landscapes of history across generations, while preserving shared identities. As evening mist covers the southern rice fields and rivers, small fires glow inside wooden homes across peaceful valleys. Bamboo leaves whisper that empires may fade, but ordinary traditions endure through farming, stories, crafts, and harmony with nature. Beneath the quiet night sky, the Baiyue legacy remains alive, revealing how cultures adapt, survive, and protect their unique identity through centuries of transformation, memory, and historical change, while maintaining a lasting connection between people and the natural world. Reflecting on this long period of cultural integration and transformation, the Han expansion into southern lands did not erase the Baiyue world, but transformed its historical path. Northern systems merged with southern knowledge of rice farming, waterways, fishing, and maritime exchange, creating new foundations for prosperity. Like rivers carrying leaves toward distant oceans, Baiyue traditions continued flowing within a wider civilization, leaving lasting influences on regional customs, identity, and cultural development throughout the long history of southern China. Traveling through the mist-covered mountains of Guangxi, Guizhou, Yunnan, and northern Vietnam today reveals communities whose traditions preserve echoes of the ancient Baiyue world. Peoples such as the Zhuang, Dong, Yao, Sui, and Tai continue maintaining languages, festivals, farming methods, and spiritual practices shaped by generations of adaptation. Although imperial boundaries, migrations, and political changes transformed the region, these communities preserved memories through oral traditions, craftsmanship, and village customs. Their presence shows cultural identity survives beyond distant official histories. Comparative linguistic studies across southern China and Southeast Asia reveal connections between modern Kra-Dai and Austroasiatic languages and ancient southern populations. Many everyday words related to rice cultivation, bamboo tools, fishing techniques, mountain landscapes, and stilted houses share similar linguistic roots across wide regions. These similarities suggest long histories of interaction among river communities before imperial expansion. Listening to traditional songs performed in remote villages today offers a glimpse into linguistic traditions that may have traveled through these valleys for thousands of years. Archaeological and linguistic evidence surrounding rice agriculture shows that southern farming traditions developed long before northern administrations reached the region. Ancient communities along the Yangtze, Pearl River, and Red River systems cultivated wet rice, managed waterways, and developed specialized agricultural knowledge adapted to subtropical environments. Terms describing fields, irrigation, seeds, and farming cycles were passed through generations, forming a shared cultural foundation. These discoveries reveal that Baiyue societies were active creators of agricultural innovation rather than merely recipients of outside influence. Over centuries, the cultural legacy of the Baiyue continued to transform while remaining deeply connected to the southern landscape. Genetic studies, archaeological discoveries, and historical research suggest that modern populations of southern China and Southeast Asia carry layers of ancient human movement and adaptation. The rivers, forests, and mountains that shaped early Baiyue life still influence communities today. Their traditions represent a quiet continuation of history, where old knowledge survives through language, agriculture, music, and the quiet rhythms shaping everyday village life through generations. Architectural traditions preserved in high mountain villages provide remarkable evidence of cultural continuity stretching across thousands of years. The Ganlan wooden stilt houses of Dong, Zhuang, and Tai communities continue using advanced mortise and tenon joinery techniques similar to timber structures discovered at the Neolithic Hemudu site in the lower Yangtze region. Elevated above wet ground, insects, snakes, and seasonal floods, these houses create cool, ventilated living spaces perfectly adapted to humid subtropical climates. Their enduring design reflects generations of environmental knowledge, passed quietly through communities and preserved as a living link to ancient southern traditions. Terraced wet rice farming across steep mountain ridges showcases a centuries-old mastery of soil conservation, hydrological management, and ecological engineering. Generation after generation carved stone retaining walls into steep mountain contours, creating cascading emerald steps that efficiently capture seasonal rainfall and distribute river water evenly across high-altitude fields. This intricate terrace system represents a sustainable, harmonious relationship with the natural landscape, functioning perfectly through community cooperation without ever requiring a centralized state bureaucracy or foreign administrative oversight to maintain its productivity across many centuries. Communal music and ceremonial gatherings remain central to daily life in these highland communities, keeping ancient oral history dynamically alive without relying on written books. The grand antiphonal singing festivals of the Zhuang and the world-renowned polyphonic choir traditions of the Dong people pass down ancestral wisdom, agricultural advice, and romantic folk legends through unwritten vocal melodies. During major seasonal celebrations, the deep rhythmic thunder of sacred bronze drums echoes through mountain valleys, calling communities together to honor water spirits just as it did several thousand years ago. Intricate textile arts, especially indigo dyeing and brocade weaving, preserve ancient geometric patterns and spiritual symbols across countless generations. Indigenous women create detailed woven designs featuring frogs, water spirits, solar stars, and sacred birds on traditional looms, reflecting motifs found on ancient Dongsan bronze drums. These textiles become living historical records, carrying clan identities, ancestral memories, and cosmic beliefs while allowing cultural knowledge to survive through time without depending on written language or official records. Sociologically, these mountain communities demonstrate remarkable resilience by embracing modern technologies while preserving traditional values. Mutual support, collective labor, and elder-led councils continue guiding village life and resolving disputes peacefully. A young villager may use smartphones for weather information and farming markets while still participating in ancestral ceremonies honoring the spirits of rivers, forests, and mountains. These practices show how communities adapt to change while maintaining their cultural identity through generations. The historical resilience of these southern communities was forged through centuries of navigating imperial expansions, from the Han and Tang dynasties to the Ming and Qing eras. Throughout these long historical shifts, the indigenous peoples utilized the natural barrier of the southern mountains to maintain significant local autonomy under native chieftain systems, known historically as the Tusi system. By skillfully balancing nominal loyalty to distant imperial capitals with the strict preservation of internal village customs, they successfully safeguarded their distinct cultural heritage against complete assimilation. Furthermore, ongoing interactions between highland communities and river valley societies formed a cultural bridge that benefited both sides. Mountain networks exchanged timber, herbs, dyes, and silver ornaments for valley salt, iron tools, and silk goods. This lasting cooperation showed that protecting indigenous traditions did not require isolation, but adaptation. Communities could participate in regional trade while preserving their spiritual beliefs, social structures, and unique cultural identity through generations of peaceful exchange. This lasting heritage shows that history survives not only through monuments, records, or imperial achievements, but also through everyday traditions. The ancient Baiyue world continued beyond political changes, preserving languages, customs, farming knowledge, and spiritual memories within southern communities. Like a hidden stream beneath forests, these cultural forces quietly supported generations, carrying ancestral wisdom through villages and valleys. Their survival demonstrates the strength of human identity beyond kingdoms, borders, and written history. As evening falls over the mountain rice terraces, gentle shadows cover peaceful valleys while hearth fires glow inside wooden stilt houses. The soft melody of bamboo flutes travels through cool air, preserving memories of an ancient world that adapted across generations. Beneath the southern sky, the bond between people and land remains strong through farming, music, stories, and family traditions. The roots of the past continue providing strength, wisdom, and identity for future generations. As thousands of years pass quietly over the southern landscapes, grand imperial dynasties rise, flourish, and eventually dissolve into memory. Empires erect stone monuments, map out administrative provinces, and declare permanent borders across mountain ridges. Yet the timeless features of the earth, the rivers, mountains, and ancient subtropical forests, silently continue their natural cycles. Over centuries, time softens every political boundary, revealing that cultural interaction between northern states and southern communities was never a one-way street, but an ongoing bidirectional conversation that transformed both sides of the geographic divide. From a historical and sociological perspective, cultural assimilation across East and Southeast Asia operated as a rich synthesis, rather than a complete erasure of indigenous identity. While the northern Central Plains contributed administrative frameworks, written scripts, and philosophical traditions, the ancient Baiyue world deeply enriched southern Asian civilization through wet rice agricultural practices, maritime navigation knowledge, culinary traditions, and unique artistic sensibilities. The resulting southern culture is not merely a distant extension of northern power, but a vibrant, independent fusion that carries the living DNA of both monumental heritage streams. Deep soil excavations and modern genetic studies confirm that ancient Baiyue populations contributed substantially to the genetic, agricultural, and cultural foundations of modern populations across southern China, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia. DNA research reveals direct ancestral lines connecting ancient coastal inhabitants with modern Kredai, Austronesian, and Austroasiatic-speaking communities. This biological and historical continuity proves that the original inhabitants of Lingnan did not vanish during imperial expansions, but instead formed the enduring human foundation upon which regional history, agriculture, and maritime trade were built over thousands of years. Deep beneath layers of alluvial silt and forest leaf litter, countless archaeological artifacts rest in peaceful darkness, waiting for researchers to gently uncover their stories. Ancient bronze drums, polished jade Kong cylinders, cord-marked earthenware, and wooden boat paddles lay preserved in damp soil layers, offering silent testimony to a sophisticated world that thrived long ago. When archaeologists uncover these ancient objects, they discover not a forgotten people, but the deep foundations of living traditions that continue through cultural memories, ancestral practices, and daily customs connecting communities across generations with enduring identity and historical continuity. The architectural forms, culinary preferences, and spiritual attitudes that define modern life in southern China and Southeast Asia carry quiet echoes of this ancient heritage. The widespread love for fresh seafood, sticky rice delicacies wrapped in bamboo leaves, steamed fish, and herbal teas reflects a dietary tradition shaped by thousands of years of living along subtropical rivers. Even the open, light-filled layout of traditional southern courtyard homes preserves the ancient preference for natural ventilation, elevated structures, and harmony with damp, warm microclimates. Consider how the physical geography itself outlasts all human political constructions, court decrees, and military conquests. The Pearl River, West River, and Red River continue to carve their patient paths through limestone karsts and alluvial plains, carrying nutrient-rich silt to coastal estuaries just as they did 10,000 years ago. Mountain ranges that once marked fiercely contested imperial frontiers now stand as peaceful green guardians, covered in dense bamboo forests that rustle softly in the warm evening breeze, entirely indifferent to human history's changing maps. Rather than disappearing into complete obscurity, the Baiyue world gradually became woven into the vast and diverse tapestry of modern East Asian civilization. Their enduring legacy survives through regional dialects spoken by millions, traditional dragon boat festivals along southern rivers, agricultural knowledge, architectural styles, and the adaptive spirit of communities worldwide. Once described by northern chroniclers as scattered coastal groups, the Baiyue peoples are now recognized as a foundational pillar of regional identity, cultural diversity, and historical depth, continuing to influence the traditions and social character of southern societies across generations. Historical interactions during the Tang and Song dynasties further consolidated this cultural synthesis, as massive migrations transformed southern China into the economic and cultural heartland of the realm. As trade routes shifted southward, the ancient maritime skills of the Baiyue descendants enabled cities like Guangzhou and Quanzhou to become world-renowned international seaports. The technological fusion of northern metallurgy and southern shipbuilding created magnificent ocean-going vessels that navigated the global maritime Silk Road, carrying porcelain, tea, and silk across the vast Indian Ocean. In the spiritual realm, ancient Baiyue beliefs centered on water spirits, dragon deities, and mountain sacred sites merged seamlessly with popular Taoist and Buddhist practices across the south. Shrines dedicated to sea goddesses, like Mazu and local river guardians, reflect an ancient spiritual relationship with the ocean and unpredictable weather patterns. This reverence for nature helped southern communities preserve unique beliefs of harmony, festivals, and spiritual flexibility beyond imperial rites. Looking back across centuries of history, we gain a peaceful understanding of human culture, identity, and the enduring power of adaptation through time. Political power and imperial boundaries are temporary phenomena, rising and falling like waves upon a shore, while the shared wisdom of human communities, how to live in balance with nature, how to cultivate the soil, and how to honor family and neighbors, endures across millennia. The past is never truly lost. It simply flows quietly beneath the surface of modern life. The story of the Baiyue invites us to appreciate the subtle, quiet forces that shape human society far beyond military conquests or official court histories. It reminds us that human resilience rests not in stone fortresses or heavy iron armor, but in adaptability, community trust, and a deep respect for the natural world. As the sun dips low beneath the western horizon, casting long, peaceful shadows across ancient river valleys, time softly blurs the lines between then and now, cradling all human history in its calm embrace. Across every valley, coastal inlet, and mountain path throughout the southern lands, the invisible threads of the past remain deeply woven into everyday life. Ancient heritage continues through morning markets, rice cultivation, seasonal ceremonies, family traditions, and village customs passed from generation to generation. Without relying on grand monuments or official declarations, millions of people preserve the wisdom, resilience, and quiet dignity of their ancestors. Under the timeless sky, living traditions continue breathing gently, connecting present with ancient community memories. Looking back across this long historical journey, true cultural strength emerges through the ability to absorb, adapt, and endure amid constant change. The interaction between northern systems and southern creativity created a blended civilization shaped by diverse traditions and experiences. As night descends over quiet rivers and valleys, waters reflect the stars above, preserving memories of cultures united through time. Like ancient streams merging into one great river, their shared legacy continues across generations, forming a lasting civilization. Looking down from the quiet height of time, where several thousand years of human history appear as brief as a single breath against the ancient life of the earth, a sense of deep peace settles over the landscape. Empires rise, claim vast territories, erect grand stone monuments, and eventually crumble back into the soil, while the quiet contours of the mountains and the steady flow of the rivers remain untouched. The grand story of human ambition fades softly into the background, leaving behind the timeless rhythm of the natural world to restore gentle balance across the ancient southern lands. Imagine standing alone on a high, grassy ridge overlooking a broad river valley in the cool dark of night, far away from city lights and modern roads. Below you, the calm river snakes silently through the valley, its mirror-like surface reflecting the brilliant light of countless stars scattered across the vast black sky above. The very same water flowing past the banks tonight carried ancient dugout canoes thousands of years ago, washing over the exact same stone riverbeds with quiet, unhurried grace, holding the undisturbed memories of generations who once navigated these peaceful waterways under the moonlight. In this peaceful stillness, you can picture the thousands of quiet villages that once dotted these lush subtropical river valleys long before kings or emperors ever recorded their names in northern annals. Communities of families who never built massive stone palaces or led armies of conquest, but who understood how to live in complete harmony with the land, the rivers, and the changing seasons. They left their mark not in heavy iron chains or ruined stone fortresses, but in the soft soil of terraced rice fields, the gentle art of bronze working, and living songs passed down through generations. Across the broad arc of East Asian antiquity, the ancient Baiyue peoples forged a resilient aquatic civilization that stretched across southern river basins, coastal estuaries, and high mountain valleys. Unafraid of the vast open ocean, their skilled mariners constructed flexible timber canoes, mastered coastal navigation, and mapped out early maritime trade routes long before imperial fleets set sail. They learned the delicate language of seasonal winds, sea currents, and estuarine tides, building a peaceful, decentralized world that relied on deep ecological wisdom and mutual trust rather than aggressive territorial expansion or centralized autocratic rule. When Qin and Han armies crossed the Five Ridges into the southern regions, they discovered a complex agricultural society rather than an empty frontier. Imperial officials introduced commanderies, writing systems, and legal structures, yet local traditions remained strong. Over centuries, northern administration blended with Baiyue rice cultivation, village customs, and seasonal ceremonies. This interaction created a lasting cultural synthesis where different traditions peacefully influenced one another across southern river valleys. All empires, rulers, and ambitions eventually returned to the earth that supported them, becoming part of the endless cycle of nature. The ancient Baiyue world did not fall in a single dramatic moment of violent destruction. Instead, it gracefully flowed into the grand stream of human history, leaving its indelible warmth, colors, and wisdom embedded within the fabric of modern life. Their legacy quietly survives through splashing oars, bronze drums, and soft winds moving through dense bamboo forests. Archaeological excavations beneath ancient river sediments reveal the quiet brilliance of the southern world. Polished jade conch cylinders, bronze drums, cord-marked pottery, and wooden plows show a society valuing art, farming, and harmony with nature. These artifacts reveal that modern traditions, including stilt houses, dragon boat festivals, and regional cuisine, remain living continuations of cultural foundations created thousands of years ago by communities along rivers and fertile lands of the ancient southern Baiyue world. The linguistic legacy of the ancient Baiyue world survives through southern languages such as Cantonese, Hakka, Min, Zhuang, and Tai today. Everyday words for rivers, fruits, bamboo, and rice cultivation preserve echoes of voices from distant generations. Hearing these melodic dialects in modern markets reveals that ancient communities never truly disappeared, but adapted and continued through changing centuries. Their spoken traditions quietly carry ancestral memories across regions while connecting past and present through language. Listen closely to the tiny, peaceful sounds of the night. The gentle trickle of fresh water flowing through ancient stone channels, the soft rustle of cool night air passing through high canopy leaves, and the slow, rhythmic movement of the river journeying toward the open sea. The stars shine down upon the sleeping valley with a calm, eternal light, illuminating a world that rests peacefully under the endless night sky. The past and the present drift together into absolute quiet, offering a comforting sense of stillness and rest to everyone who pauses to listen to the land. As your mind settles and your breathing becomes slow, soft, and deep, allow the gentle quiet of this ancient landscape to wash over you completely. Everything is at peace, resting under the watchful canopy of the universe, safe and undisturbed in the timeless rhythm of the night. The long historical journey of conflict, integration, and cultural flowering comes to rest in this tranquil space, reminding us that nature softly embraces all human endeavors, cradling the rise and fall of civilizations within its eternal quiet care. In the vast perspective of time, the stories of emperors, chieftains, soldiers, and farmers dissolve into a single harmonious melody. The stone spillways of ancient canals, the terraced mountain fields carved into green hillsides, and the quiet river docks all speak of human resilience, quiet adaptability, and a deep, enduring love for the natural world. No matter how many dynasties rise and fall across the horizon, the earth gently holds their memory, transforming ancient struggles into a peaceful, living heritage that continues to sustain human hearts today. Standing on this high ridge under the starry heavens, one realizes that true immortality is not found in heavy stone monuments or recorded imperial titles, but in the quiet continuity of life itself. The rivers will continue to flow softly through the limestone valleys, the seasonal rains will fall over green rice paddies, and the night sky will keep watch over sleeping communities below. The ancient world lives on, not as a distant memory locked in historical archives, but as a gentle, breathing presence that surrounds us in every quiet moment. As the late night breeze whispers softly through the high bamboo thickets, a profound sense of stillness fills the air, bringing our long journey through history to a serene and gentle close. The past rests peacefully, the present breathes softly, and the future awaits in quiet harmony beneath the eternal stars. Everything is whole, everything is connected, and everything rests at last in the calm, unending rhythm of the night. The script comes to a close. Thank you all for listening.